The Taiping Rebellion of the 19th century sought to overthrow the Qing dynasty and establish a utopian society in China based on a unique blend of Christianity, Chinese tradition, and social reform. Hong Xiuquan, the figure of the Taiping movement, was born in 1814 in the southern Chinese province of Guangdong. In 1837, he failed the imperial examinations, a prestigious series of tests required for entry into the civil service, which led to a period of despair and soul-searching. During this time, he experienced a series of visions and revelations, culminating in a belief that he was the younger brother of Jesus Christ, and destined to establish the Heavenly Kingdom of great peace on earth. In 1850, Hong Xiuquan officially launched the Taiping Rebellion, rallying thousands of followers to his cause. The movement gained momentum quickly, fueled by discontent with the ruling Qing dynasty's corruption, economic hardship, and social inequality. Under Hong Xiuquan's leadership, the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom sought to implement radical reforms, including the abolition of private property, redistribution of land, and the adoption of a strict moral code, forbidding practices such as gambling, opium use, and foot binding. Amidst the chaos of the rebellion, Hong Rengan, a cousin of Hong Xiuquan, served as a trusted advisor and diplomat for the Heavenly Kingdom. Unlike his cousin, Hong Rengan was pragmatic and forward-thinking, advocating for modernization and cooperation with Western powers. He was baptized in British Hong Kong and converted to Lutheranism by a Swedish missionary. His reforms never really panned out, however, as, despite the efforts of Xiuquan and Rengan, external pressures and ineffective leadership under Xiuquan ultimately led to the downfall of the Taiping movement, and the Qing dynasty, with the support of Western nations, eventually crushed the rebellion. But what if this had changed? What if, in an alternate timeline, the Taiping Rebellion succeeded? In the shadows of 19th century China, Hong Rengan sat at his rosewood desk, studying a Swedish Protestant Bible. Rengan cradled ambitions beyond the radical flames of his cousin's vision. His distant cousin Xiuquan was an opportunist, a man who contorted the Christian faith to gain power, and even more disturbing, in his opinion, a man who cared more about his harem of wives than the stability of his kingdom. Hong Rengan, on the other hand, was a pragmatist. His work as a teacher and his journeys to England and France caused him to admire the European system of government. His dreams painted a vision of China bridging the grace of their elegant history and culture with the might of the Western government and religion. He sought to co-opt the Taiping movement and bring the West to China. The air was heavy with tension as Hong Rengan and Shi Dekai, two figures in the swirling chaos of the Taiping Rebellion, stood face to face in a dimly lit chamber. Candlelight flickered against the worn stone walls, casting long shadows that danced across their determined faces. Rengan regarded Dekai with a mixture of respect and anticipation. The warlord, known for his prowess on the battlefield and his unwavering loyalty to the Taiping cause, would be a formidable ally in their quest to bring about change. Shi Dekai agreed that Xiuquan's misrule must come to an end. Together they began to strategize, laying out their plans for the assault on the Heavenly Palace with meticulous precision. Shi Dekai, with his intimate knowledge of military tactics and battlefield strategy, offered valuable insights into the layout of the palace and the weaknesses of its defenses. Rengan, drawing upon his diplomatic acumen and keen intellect, outlined a plan to rally their forces and coordinate an attack from multiple fronts. The stage was set in August of 1855, within the hallowed walls of the Heavenly Palace, where Hong Xiuquan wielded authority not unlike the emperors of old. The palace doors shook. A loud bang echoed among the columns of the palace. Xiuquan stood up from his throne, directing his guards to examine the sound. The door shook again, and a third time, until it splintered open with the impact of a massive battering ram. A wave of Taiping soldiers adorned in crimson armor stormed the room, weapons drawn. Rengan stared deeply into the frightened eyes of his cousin, whose wives scattered behind the several pillars that could give them cover. Rengan pointed at the heretic, and the soldiers quickly and mercilessly engaged the guards. A brawl broke out, with the soldiers evenly matched, fighting for control. After slicing through two guards, however, Dekai stepped carefully toward Hong Xiuquan, breaking the blockade and, with a single blow, cut down the Heavenly Emperor. Within hours, the vast palace was commandeered by Rangan and Dakai, whose soldiers patrolled its many maze-like corridors, closets, and servant quarters, searching for escaped heretics. Hong Rengan soon laid bare his vision for a new China. More importantly, however, he enlisted Dakai to rally an army 360,000 men strong to reinforce that vision. Shah Dakai reorganized the Taiping forces under his command, a task which proved relatively easy given Dakai's experience. Border garrisons were fortified, and forces which were previously used for expansion became a wall of defense. Dakai's vision for the Taiping military was one in which defense was its greatest offense, reversing what he saw to be costly and unnecessary campaigns to push the Heavenly Kingdom's borders into regions it couldn't control. As the first light of dawn painted the horizon in hues of pink and gold, Rangan's Taiping forces gathered on the outskirts of Anhui and Jiangxi, a formidable sea of yellow and red banners rippling in the morning breeze. General Shai Dakai stood at the forefront, his presence a towering figure of determination and strength. Beside him, Hong Rengan, flanked by cross-bearers and a Lutheran reverend, surveyed the landscape with a cool, calculated gaze. With a silent nod to his loyal general, Rangan signaled the beginning of their campaign. In the fields before him, a battle erupted. As the Taiping soldiers surged forward, their footsteps echoing like thunder against the earth, the resistance, loyal to Xiuquan, scrambled to mount a defense. But their efforts were futile against the relentless onslaught of the Heavenly Kingdom's forces. The Xiuquan loyalists were only 100,000 strong, less than that, some said. Their ranks were less organized, less coherent. Villages and towns fell like dominoes in the wake of Rangan and Dakai's advancing army, their once bustling streets now silent and deserted. Yet amidst the chaos of war, Rangan remained a beacon of calm amidst the storm. He began the process of diplomatically dismantling any threat to his rule by granting concessions to independence movements in regions he considered to be useless to his empire. With a sweeping gesture, he extended an olive branch to Yetishar, acknowledging a Turkic government in the Xinjiang region. Similarly, he offered a hand of friendship to the Tibetans and to the Mongolians living in northern China. He acknowledged their independent states, and promised to recognize any states in the region who would swear their allegiance to him against the Qing and the Xiuquan loyalists. In the bustling port city of Tianjin, now the capital of the Heavenly Kingdom, the streets came alive with the sounds of commerce and industry. Ships from across the globe docked at the harbor, bearing goods and traders from distant lands. Rangan opened up trade with the Europeans and funded the establishment of Christian missions from England, the Netherlands, and Sweden. Trade flourished with the English and Dutch, their ships laden with precious cargoes of textiles, spices, and technology. Nominal trade agreements were also struck with the Spanish and Portuguese, extending the reach of the Taiping influence overseas. It was the English in particular who Rangan sought to court, sending soldiers and diplomats clad in Western attire and armed with Bibles and dictionaries to negotiate the recognition of a China on equal terms with the West. This would be one of the greater challenges of Rangan's administration, given the propensity of the Western powers to impose unequal treaties on the Eastern nations, but it would be a goal nonetheless pursued by his mandate. European architects and merchants flocked to Taiping port cities, drawn by the promise of opportunity and prosperity. They were welcomed with open arms by Rangan, who saw their expertise as crucial to the modernization of his realm. The architects set to work under Rangan's orders and pay, their hands shaping the landscape of the city with grandeur and ambition. In the heart of the metropolis, where once stood the towering Tianjin porcelain tower, now rose a magnificent monument to Jesus Christ, the feeding of the 5,000, inspired by the Western statues it sought to mimic. Surrounding it, Dutch, French, and English-style buildings adorned the streets, mixing in with the native Chinese and Sino-Portuguese architecture. The statue itself was not only a testament to the new religious doctrines of the Taiping Kingdom, but to the ambition of Rangan to reverse the famine that plagued China under Qing rule, which was not greatly alleviated under Xiuquan's rule. With the population expanding faster than agricultural production, Rangan introduced European agricultural machinery to increase efficiency and yield. To safeguard against food shortages, he subsidized the import of grains from other states, chiefly Russia, storing them in massive granaries in major cities. Rangan dreamed of an ambitious new palace, one that would reflect the majesty of his government and the splendor of his vision. Inspired by Versailles, he envisioned vast gardens and cobbled streets, a symbol of his new order. This new order, it seemed, was running smoothly. But not all was as it seemed. Some of Rangan's early challenges lay in the Yangtze River Valley, where local landowners held sway over vast swaths of territory. Determined to maintain control over this crucial region, he worked tirelessly to garner their support, forging alliances and brokering deals to secure his hold of the breadbasket of the kingdom. The last of the Xiuquan loyalists were executed or pushed back to Guangxi in fierce battles orchestrated by Decai's new modern military. But in their crusade to pacify rebels in the Yangtze, it seemed that the Heavenly Kingdom forgot about the threat which birthed their nation. In June of 1862, the tranquility of the Taiping port city of Shanghai, a protectorate of the British Empire, was shattered by the sudden roar of cannons. European and foreign ships laden with precious cargo and flying flags from distant lands found themselves under relentless assault from Qing forces, their decks splintering under the barrage of cannon fire. The air was assaulted with the scent of gunpowder and the screams of sailors caught in the crossfire. With their forces stretched thin and their attention focused on internal matters, they now faced a desperate struggle to defend their newfound prosperity and preserve the fragile peace they had fought so hard to achieve. With Qing forces massing on the borders and foreign ships burning in the harbors, the stage was set for a conflict that would shake the very foundations of China itself. As the first cries of alarm echoed through the streets in the northern cities of the Heavenly Kingdom, Hong Xiuquan and his allies knew the true test of their leadership had only just begun. They now sat in the shadow of an impending, bloody civil war. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, welcome. We have new videos like this one every week, so be sure to subscribe and stay tuned. A special thanks to everyone who has donated to us on Patreon and through channel memberships on the main channel. Support from our patrons and donors helps make regular videos possible, and every donation goes a long way to keeping our channels going. If you can't donate anything, please consider subscribing on here and on our main channel and sharing this video to help out. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next video. Mr. Z out.